Thanks for dancing.
I mean, hopefully that woke everyone up. That's our strategy, by the way.
This is your guerrilla strategy, right? Yeah. To entertain with your awesome dancing skills?
You didn't gyrate with me.
Later maybe. Okay, so I've known Royston for about 10 years now, and we go really way back. We went to school together in Singapore, and then we did a stint with the NUS Overseas College in Silicon Valley. So that's how we met, right? So I've seen the growth of the Singapore startup scene around the region, as well as the growth of Zopim themselves. And they just sold Zopim to Zendesk last year, right? For, at that point in time, roughly about US 30 million in cash and equity. So, and they are really our homegrown startup, and they've been a huge inspiration to many of us here. So today I'm really, really excited to have a chat with you, Royston.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I'm actually in the middle of my in-camp training, so this gave me the perfect excuse to come out for one day. So really appreciate you having me here.
Thank you. Okay, so
I thought you were gonna say that you saw the growth of Royston also, which is
yeah, maybe into Zendesk, into the Buddha.
The belly.
The belly. Yeah. So let's get right into it. So when you first started Zopim back in 2008, correct? The market back then was, in terms of SaaS in this part of the world, was basically non-existent. Entrepreneurship scene was also kind of lackluster at that point in time. So can you just take us through to that origin point? Why start a company then?
It always starts with the idea, right? We didn't care whether we were a SaaS company or not. In fact, that term probably hasn't even existed when we started the company in 2007. And as with most founders, most entrepreneurs, it started with an itch that we needed to scratch ourselves. When we were all in Silicon Valley on the NOC program, we had to buy a whole lot of stuff online on Craigslist, which is this popular online marketplace. And it just struck us as we were buying and selling all those items that it's really dumb for someone to have to call me when that person is on that listing, looking at my listing, and he could actually chat with me there through my IM. So that was the idea that we had. What if we could put a chat widget on every single e-commerce website and have the person viewing the page be able to talk to the person who put up the listing? And we didn't know then that there was already an industry out there called live chat. It's actually a technical term.
Can you elaborate what is live chat?
There are two. If you Google for live chat, there are two categories. One is the sleazier kind, and one is the industrial kind, which is what we are providing for our customers. Basically, allowing businesses to chat with customers on their website, and along the way, engage them, support them towards better satisfaction as well as conversions. So that's live chat. But the state of the business back in 2007 when we started the business was that live chat was used predominantly by enterprises. It's this very expensive. Think about it as like a tank. The person that bought it, the commander, thinks that it's nice and shiny, it looks freaking awesome, but the people inside it operating the chat software itself, the people in the tank, they're like sweating, it's confusing to use, it's terrible. And what we actually did was to reinvent the way chat worked. So we actually looked at the regular mom and pop shops out there. How would they want to use a live chat software? And we designed sort of like the Toyota for them, so that anyone can have a very beautifully simple kind of experience when they're using chat, easy to deploy. You don't have to have insane technical skills in order to deploy live chat. And once you have set it up, you can go in and chat with customers immediately on your site. There's no training required. So that's where we actually came in and innovated on the space, even back in 2008.
And so back then, did you pitch to any VC?
We did. That's a leading question, right?
Yes, it is a leading question because I know the story.
Yeah, so I think this story has been covered a little bit, which is one of the reasons why we actually got our asses down to building the product was because we met a VC from Draper Fisher Jefferson, DFJ, Tim Draper, one of the founders himself, in Singapore. We crashed an event and we actually pitched the idea to him. And he liked it enough that he said, let me see a prototype. And so we spent 1 month building up the prototype, and eventually one of our partners, Julian, went to the Sandhill office to present the prototype to him. But the prototype was really screwed up. There was only a couple of buttons that he could press. If you press anything else, it will just totally hang. Needless to say.
MVP, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So needless to say, he told us he told us that come back to me when you see more traction, which is actually VC speak for fuck off. Yeah,
this is going on video, by the way, but that's fine. We're all technology people.
Okay, no more vulgarities, I promise.
So how about after that then? I mean, when you came back to Singapore, you after a certain point in time, you raised. In fact, until the journey towards Zendesk, you only raised in total about what, 400,000 US?
Yes. Well, after we showed the prototype, we actually had something that was pretty impressive for a prototype. So what we did was to go back to the government grants that were still relatively new then. I think iGEM was just rolled out in 2007, and I believe our company Zopim was the first or second company that actually got the $55,000 iGEM grant. And
so just a context for our international audience here. These are Singapore government grants to kind of seed the industry. This was like, again, like 7, 8, 9 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And using this $55,000, we actually managed to lengthen our run till 2 years by just drawing $500 a month ourselves, continuously building on the prototype. So since we built the live chat software, we actually dog-fooded it every day. So every single day when someone comes on the website and they have a complaint or they have a suggestion or a feature, we just chat with them, and if it makes sense, we'll just like code it in immediately. So it was a very, very iterative process for the first 2 years when we were in free beta. And essentially after 2 years, we ran out of money and we had to roll out pricing. And then 2010 was when we actually rolled out the pricing itself.
So when you did the free beta, how was that journey? You know, was there a lot of discussion internally regarding how to price, when to price?
Yes, we did a lot of analysis, which actually paralyzed us in a way because there was no good model that we could follow. We did cost-based analysis, price-based, and utility-based, and all that technical jargon out there. Eventually, when it came down to it, we spent about 5 minutes at a drawing table, and we were like, the free package. Let's just have a free package. What about the next one? Hey, $9 sounds right. $9 is a good pricing point for the cheapest package. Let's just do $9. What about the next one? Maybe 15, maybe 39, $99, So that was pretty much how we rolled out the first version of our pricing, which is not bad. I think it's a good practice. You should just roll the pricing out and actually see how the consumers or the customers take it, and then iterate from there onwards.
So then when you take it now to the journey of the Zendesk kind of story, the Zopim Zendesk marriage, how did that come about?
So after we launched in 2010, the company started to become a lot healthier. So every year, I think our growth was more than 2x every single year, to the point of when we were in 2014, Zendesk actually came and approached us. So what they said is that they had, when they met us, they said that they had a live chat software which was not exactly perfect.
So not shitty?
I'm not allowed to say. Yeah, I'm not allowed to say the word shitty. So yeah, that was the word they said. And they were basically going around the globe talking to all the top live chat providers, of which we were one of them. And during the process, they evaluated maybe 3 or 4 of us, and eventually decided that we were the ones that they really wanted to work with.
Okay, wait, so to backtrack a little bit, at that point in time, what kind of numbers were you doing in terms of number of customers, global outreach, like audience breakdown and stuff like that?
Am I allowed to say?
His PR team is there, is it?
I think we are not allowed to divulge that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But roughly, like, customers, businesses.
I would say paying customers, we were in the 5 digits. We were in most countries around the world. I think it's okay to say that we are also, the top market for us was actually in the US by quite some distance, followed by the UK, and then the European region essentially. But contrary to popular belief, people seem to think that because we are based in Singapore, that Asia actually contributed a big part of our revenue. Not so. It's actually mostly the US and Europe that we were really popular in.
So I want to get back to that point later on. But so yeah, so can you take us back to the Zendesk thing again? So when they decided that it was really Zopim, that it was like kind of the top of their list, then what happened next?
We did a little bit of dancing back and forth.
Emails? On stage?
A little bit of everything. So yeah, there were email communications, there were also video conferences. When it came down to it, they actually flew us over. and we met with the executive team, everyone in the senior management team, and sort of they evaluated how they liked us as founders, and we evaluated the senior management team to see whether we liked them as well.
And this was what, back in October 2013?
Late 2014,
Late 2014.
December. In December. I think we spent our Christmas...
2013.
2013, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2013.
I think we spent our Christmas over there with the Zendesk folks.
Okay, so thereafter, what happened? After you flew there, had like the first date, so to speak?
It's the usual stuff, like we negotiated on a term sheet, and then we found ourselves a lawyer, which is freaking expensive in the US. And then we came back with the term sheet, and we proceeded to the long-form agreement. And the long-form agreement actually took us maybe a couple of months, 3 months to hammer out. So I think when the news was actually publicized, it was in April. But we actually signed everything off by March. Yeah.
Okay. So thereafter, how has the marriage been? Has it been smooth?
It's like all marriages, right? There are compromises, but so far it's been great. And one of the reasons that it's been awesome is because we, even before the acquisition, we did something that is not common, which is to fly the Zendesk executive team into Singapore to meet our team first, even before we sign on the term sheet, sign on the final agreement. It's relatively uncommon because usually you have the founders and the senior management from the acquiring company sit in a hotel room and hammer everything out before you go to your company and be like, hey, you are now part of a bigger company. And we really felt that we couldn't do that because this company belonged not just to us, but to all our employees as well.
And at that point in time, how many employees were you?
We were at 30 plus employees, both in Singapore as well as contractors in Manila. Yeah.
So in terms of now the Zendesk journey, you recently released a piece of news just I think a few months ago, that Zopim now you're powering Facebook Messenger for businesses.
Yeah, the term powering Facebook Messenger might be exaggerating it a little.
I'm your PR team now, right?
I met Eduardo Severin at one of the events the other day, and I told him, "Did you know that Zopim is powering Facebook Messenger now?" And he's like, "Yeah, right."
so okay, what is the term you will use?
For those who are not aware, Facebook is actually moving more into the business space. They've already announced Facebook for Business, and they've also announced Facebook Messenger for businesses as well. So I think the long-term goal, the scenario that they have already shared with everyone, the use case that they've already shared with everyone is that when you make a purchase on an e-commerce site, instead of just receiving the invoice through your email, you would be able to opt in to Messenger messages as well. So you will receive a Messenger message with the invoice and the item that you bought. If you want to, you can drill in deeper and see what, at which point of shipping it is. And if you would like support, if you would like to ask questions about that particular delivery or that particular invoice, you can just reply through Messenger, and the business would receive it on the back end. So where it gets tough for businesses to manage is, can you imagine if like 10,000 people started messaging you all at once? There's no way you can pull out your Messenger app and just reply through that. You need like an army of people holding their Messenger app. And even then, how can they route messages back and forth one another, right? So that's where Zopim comes in. We in a partnership with Facebook to power the back-end workflow, so that when messages comes in, you can decide which agent takes it. If you need to escalate it or route it to someone else, you can also do so via the Zopim product. And Zopim is the first partner that Facebook has to power this integration. So
how's the business model on this kind of partnership?
To be honest, right now everything is still we still haven't decided what the business model is going to be, but we have committed to providing this service for the first 6 months to be free for anyone who beta test this product. And the rollout is going to be pretty slow. So what we're trying to do is to work with alongside Facebook to earmark the notable brands that we think are going to exemplify great customer service. Because we don't want people who sign up to be like taking 1 or 2 days to respond to messages. We actually want people who can be super responsive, like maybe within 10 to 15 minutes time, you're able to get back to a customer. So we're trying to find notable brands who are willing to commit to this, to be onboarded on this program with us.
And how you're finding these notable brands? Through the data already from Zopim Zendesk?
So we're actually reaching out to everyone out here, right? And anyone who thinks that you have a very interesting use case, a very interesting brand, feel free to talk to us. We will have a selection process internally, along with Facebook as well, to decide who among this we want to onboard. Because onboarding is going to be relatively slow. So that's the reason why it's going to be notable brands that we will want to work with at the beginning.
How long did this partnership take to come to fruition?
You won't believe it. So I think 2 months before the F8 announcement was when they first reached out to us. They reached out to Zendesk. So when you ask about the partnership between Zopim and Zendesk, this is where Zendesk, we are able to leverage Zendesk brand, right? Because they reached out to Zendesk, and from Zendesk, we were actually introduced to the customers who were going to be onboarded for the first time, the first 2 customers. And along with Facebook, we decided that we need to work very closely together in order to build out the first version of the integration. And what happened was that we actually flew a team of our engineers, including my co-founder YB, down to Menlo Park, working in the same campus as Mark Zuckerberg. In fact, I think they were just bragging to me that their office is just like a stone's throw from Zuckerberg's office. And every now and then you'll be able to see him walk around with Jay-Z and Beyonce and
in his like t-shirts.
In his t-shirts, hoodie. Yeah, so I think it was a very exciting experience for us as Singaporeans, for our engineers to be paired with what's considered the best, best of the best in terms of engineering pedigree. And we showed that we could actually keep up with the best of the best over there. And I think this bodes well for the overall Singapore tech community, which is that we have the talents over here. We have the talents to build world-class products, and we can definitely compete with the best out there.
So after flying your tech team down to Menlo Park, so again, how long then did the integration take then to actually announcing it?
The integration itself, it was a lot of working closely with the Messenger team to sculpt what their API or their SDK is going to look like, how it's going to work. The integration itself, I would say, took about a month. It's right now still in private beta, so only the 2 customers have access to it. I think, as I mentioned, in the coming 1-2 months, we will try and earmark more partners who can then hop on and start using this integration.
So this will be, again, you were just doing a call out to everyone here. So it's a global rollout, global beta.
Yeah, there will be an announcement shortly. We will reach out to people who are interested to give this a go. Even right now, I think if you go to Facebook's website or you go to Zendesk's website, you will be able to find a form where you can indicate your interest. So the form is already out there, and I would encourage people who are interested to try out this integration to go there and leave your contact details.
So now I want to take it back to now, not like you as like Zopim and Zendesk, but you as a person, right? You as a person who has, done this journey of selling a company, and now going through the journey of taking the product forward and, doing more with it. For you, what motivates you when you think about carrying this Zopim Zendesk journey forward?
I think the motivation behind starting Zopim was always for our software to be able to provide the real-time support for customers wherever they are. So what we saw was actually that on a website, if you're already on a website, there's no reason for you to pick up a phone and make a phone call. You should be able to start a live chat on your website. Continuing on this journey, if in the future, we have a lot of people doing messaging right now, it makes sense for you to ask for support within your messaging app itself. That's why we are working with Facebook in order to push this integration forward. And we're also seeing that it's a general trend that a lot of people are moving to mobile to make their purchases, to surf. So in order to support customers who are on such devices, we'll make sure that our product works super well on mobile websites, as well as within apps. So for example, if you just think about it, if you open Uber, and you have a question that you want to ask Uber, there's no way you're going to leave Uber and pick up a phone and call, right? You should be able to start a chat from within the app itself. And moving forward, along with Zendesk, we are actually building SDKs, building better mobile web support in order to power this kind of experience. So the goal is that no matter where the customer is, we want to be there so that it's effortless for the customer to reach out, and it's effortless for the business to provide awesome support for those customers.
Okay, so on that, right, since Facebook purchased WhatsApp, so then Facebook has basically Messenger as well as WhatsApp. Do you see yourself also working in WhatsApp at some point?
the first question we asked the Messenger team was that could we work with WhatsApp instead and together?
You're like, oh, we don't like you, Messenger. I don't know WhatsApp.
We're Asians, right? So all of us are on WhatsApp. So we're very excited about the possibility of working with WhatsApp. But for now, I think there are no plans. Yeah.
Okay. So again, taking back to you and your co-founders, I guess, you know, when you come together and you built the company as co-founders, but you guys are all friends as well. We're all this whole bunch. I know all the co-founders as well. So we're all like this whole bunch of friends, right? What gets you through? Because it was a lot of ups and downs. I know that, you know, you were living on like $500 salaries a month, and, you know, payments, before rolling out pricing was difficult. And then now you guys are basically multi-millionaires. And the journey has been from basically in the typical terms, like rags to riches kind of thing. I know you're like squirming there right now, right? But so together as a team, how has that evolved? And together as friends, how has that evolved?
I think what the qualities that we had as founders was something I really appreciated when we went through all the tough times. Because there were, as with most startups, you reach many points where you just think that the startup is going to tank. There's no way it's going to move forward anymore.
So you reached that point?
Several times.
Yeah.
Like, you have to remember, we were struggling for 2 years without making much money, right? And every time we reached a particular point, we would just ask ourselves, like, you know, is there a point moving forward? Do we all still want to do this? And the biggest reasons for startups actually failing is when one of the founder actually decides to leave. And then that's when, you know, the morale goes down, and then everyone is like, I don't know if I have the energy to show up for work anymore. For our team, that's never happened. If anything else, everyone has been like, you know what, I really believe in all of you. And if I'm staying on, it's not because of the idea, it's because of the team. And so let's stay together and make this happen. And it's not just the founders, it's also all our employees that we have as well. Everyone is just super bonded as a team. And I think when you're asking about motivation, what keeps me going every day, and what keeps all our employees going every day, it is this strong bond that we have built over the past couple of years that keeps us working together as a team and really continue excelling.
Okay, so, but also in this founding story, like the co-founders, there's also a little like anecdote, right? Which is that one of the original co-founders also left. So Julian left at some point. So, and that reason, I mean, we know it's on good terms. I mean, that's what at least your PR team has been telling, right? Yeah, we reported. So, but yeah, so how was that? Why, you know, was it really amicable? Was it? Yeah,
it was. Of course, it's a very tough decision that we eventually mutually came to the decision on. What happened was actually that if for people who are not aware, Zopim is a very self-service kind of platform. We evolved that way because early on when we tried to do enterprise deals, we realized that we were just not ready to serve the enterprises. There are a lot of things that, you know, a small startup wouldn't be able to do, like compliance, security. It's a lot of things, obstacles, hurdles that we have to cross before we can deploy in an enterprise environment. And so we decided to move really into self-service. And in a self-service model, it's hard for us to have a sales executive working on it because we're just not ready to handle sales, especially from larger customers. And Julian's best strength was actually in sales. He's a top salesman. And we just decided at that point that, you know, it might be a couple of years before we actually need this sales expertise. So what happened is actually mutually great for both of us because I think he went on to the dark side. He actually started investing with Red Dot Ventures, and he was, I think, one of the most prolific angel investors in the scene, at least in the couple of years that he was with them. He made like tons of investments. So I think it worked out really well for both sides.
And he also started something else now.
Yes, yeah. He's on to his next startup now.
Yeah. So now, again, back to you kind of as a person, right? Through all these ups and downs, and you talked about how Zopim also reached several points in time where it was like, oh, it was like super dire in a sense, right? So what worried you at that point? Was it your kind of baby going to die? Was it like never succeeding? What was at the top of your mind?
What was top of my mind may be that when my girlfriend wanted to buy a handbag.
Oh no, okay.
No. Yeah, after you graduate, you sort of have maybe 1 year leeway where you can, you know, experiment with stuff, and your parents have not that much expectations on you, your partner may not have that much expectation on you. After going through 1 or 2 years, you start to ask yourself, am I able to see this through to the point where I can actually be financially independent and be able to contribute back? So that was a question that we always had, which is that can Zopim reach that point? And the math that was staring at us back then was just bad. Like, we had 1,000 beta customers all using us for free. And if you're going to roll something out that's $10, and assuming a conversion of say 10%, and we have 100 customers paying $10, we're going to be making $1,000 a month. It's like divided by four or five of us, it's going to be like $200 a month. So when we were thinking of it, it did feel quite uncomfortable, knowing that we might not be able to get to the point where we are financially independent.
So this part then, when you manage your conversation then with your then girlfriend and now wife, so Yingzhi, right? How did that go?
Oh, she didn't really care because rich background.
Really? You're lucky.
Yeah. She was actually bankrolling me. Not really. So she was in a situation herself where she was also interning in a company. So she wasn't really making a lot also. So she can't really complain. And we just decided that we should do whatever makes ourselves happy. And we realized that actually money is not what's going to make us happy. The lack of money makes us unhappy, but having a lot of money is not going to make us happy. It's actually the purpose that you have in your job. Why are you pursuing this? There's got to be an underlying passion for the work that you're doing. And we realized that she really liked advertising. I really like building products. Even if we were making very little money at the beginning, it's fine because we are going to be happy anyway.
And then you got married last year. After 13 years together?
After finally saving enough to have a wedding.
Yeah, that was awesome. So I want to close off with you being an inspiration, and Zopim as a story being an inspiration to Singapore and the Southeast Asian scene, right? Throughout your journey, and this is something I asked of Yat, CEO of Outblaze, yesterday as well, which is that in terms of starting a company, the journey of being a founder, you can read a lot online advice. Do your passion. Just go away and start a startup. Don't do an MBA. Don't go. You can drop out of school if you think that you want. Or some people say go to school and stuff like that. So a lot of conflicting advice and stuff like that. For yourself, has there been any piece of personal kind of principle or a piece of advice that you give yourself or you learn from someone that you feel is very unconventional that people should know?
There's no like golden advice I can give anyone because everyone approaches their startup journey in a very different way. I remember when I first started Zopim, a friend of mine gave me like very sincere advice. Like, he was like, don't do this. This is stupid. Like, go out there, work for 5-10 years, get some experience, have some context in the industry before you come out and build something yourself. And I could see his point, but my conviction within myself was that I think I have a great team around me which allowed me to pursue this dream. And there are so many other parameters, right? Like, I could have all this conviction, but I'm by myself. Then it's kind of pointless because I might not be able to build the product because I'm quite a half-assed engineer. I actually need good partners around me. So I think everyone has their own startup journey, and I'm not going to criticize or say that one way is better than the other. But definitely for us, what we had was just youth working for us. Like right now, if I were to start again and you tell me I'm going to make $500 a month for the next 2 or 3 years, I'm going to be like, oh my God, how am I going to pay off my loans? How am I going to service the car and that sort of things? So there are pros and cons either way, but I think as long as you, oh my God, I'm going to say follow your heart, which I'm not supposed to say.
You
Something
can.
Yeah, because if you don't follow your heart, then there's no conviction for you to follow through. And when you reach the difficult moments in your startup, you actually need that conviction and commitment. So as a team, I think everyone within the founding team has to have that same level of conviction and the same guiding purpose.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Royston. Thank you so much. Please give Royston a round of applause.
Thanks, Gwen. Thanks, everyone.